The silent observer. The crystalline spires of New Geneva's Quantum Research Institute stretch toward the morning sky. Their surface is reflecting the sunrise in prismatic patterns. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her office window, watching the neural interface pods being loaded onto the transport vessel. Each pod represented years of research, sacrifice, and secrets. Dr. Chen, her AI assistant's voice was barely a whisper. The Galactic Council's delegation will arrive in 20 minutes. Sarah nodded, straightening her formal diplomatic uniform. The golden quantum consciousness badge on her collar, looking deliberately primitive to untrained eyes, felt heavy with purpose. Is everything in place, AOIA? Yes, Doctor. All quantum consciousness readings are being masked by standard electromagnetic patterns. To their sensors, would appear to be conducting basic neurological research. The deception was necessary. For the past 30 years, humanity had maintained an elaborate facade of technological mediocrity. While the galaxy's advanced civilizations boasted about their mastery of spatial dimensions through mechanical means, humanity had discovered something far more profound. Consciousness itself was the key to dimensional manipulation. The quantum consciousness program had started as an attempt to enhance human telepathy. Instead, they discovered that human consciousness, when properly aligned, could perceive and interact with higher dimensions naturally. No machinery required. The neural pods weren't tools for manipulation. They were training devices, helping humans unlock their innate abilities. Sarah straightened as her office door chimed. Ambassador Chen Liang, her brother, entered with his usual diplomatic poise. The Arcturians are being particularly condescending today, he said, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. Their chief scientist spent 10 minutes explaining to me how humans might understand basic four-dimensional physics in another few centuries. Perfect, Sarah smiled. Did you show them the experimental gravity drive? Complete with intentionally inefficient power consumption and visible field fluctuations. Chen's eyes sparkled. They couldn't hide their disdain. The Zeta 9 representative actually made their equivalent of a pitying sigh. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the Galactic Council's scientific evaluation team. The delegation filed into the observation chamber, a mix of organic and energy-based beings, all radiating an air of superior knowledge. Dr. Chen, the lead evaluator, a meridian with flowing crystalline appendages, began, "We understand you've requested council funding for neural research. While we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, neural science is hardly cutting-edge technology." Sarah activated the demonstration chamber's display, showing human test subjects attempting to manipulate simple objects with neural interfaces. The interfaces appeared to fail more often than succeed, exactly as planned. "We believe understanding consciousness is fundamental to technological advancement," Sarah explained, keeping her voice earnest and slightly naive. "Our research suggests that mental patterns might influence quantum states at a basic level." The Arcturian scientist waved a tentacle dismissively. "Consciousness affecting quantum states. My dear, that's been thoroughly disproven. Consciousness is merely an emergent property of complex neural networks. It has no direct influence on quantum mechanics." Sarah fought to hide her smile. Behind her carefully maintained expression, her quantum-enhanced consciousness could perceive the flowing patterns of higher dimensions around them. She could see how the Arcturians' own dismissive thoughts created ripples in the quantum fabric, completely unnoticed by their advanced sensors. The demonstration continued, with humanity's representatives playing their roles perfectly. They showed just enough progress to be interesting, but not enough to be threatening. The delegation left 2 hours later, their report already forming. Earth showed promise in basic research, but remained centuries behind in any meaningful advancement. That evening, in the secure lower levels of the Institute, Sarah stood before the true heart of human advancement. The quantum consciousness chamber hummed with power as thousands of linked minds explored the higher dimensions. Here, humans weren't bound by physical technology. They reached into the fabric of reality with their thoughts, understanding dimensions that the galaxy's finest machines couldn't detect. "How long do we maintain this charade?" Chen asked, watching the consciousness patterns flow across the monitoring screens. Sarah touched the quantum resonance patterns gently. "Until we're ready. The galaxy measures advancement by their standards, by machines and physics and mathematical proofs. They don't understand that consciousness itself is the key to everything." And sometimes she smiled. "The best way to advance is to let others think you're standing still." In the chamber below, human minds touched the edges of the 11th dimension, while above, the galaxy's finest sensors detected nothing but basic neural activity. The greatest breakthrough in dimensional physics wasn't hidden in a secret bunker or disguised as something else. It was hidden in plain sight, in the one place the advanced races never thought to look, within the consciousness of a species they had dismissed as primitive. The silent observer continued its work as humanity prepared for a future the galaxy couldn't imagine. Echoes of understanding. The quantum collective dreamed, and in their dreams they touched infinity. 300 synchronized minds floated in the neural meditation chambers beneath New Geneva, their consciousness weaving through dimensions that physical senses couldn't detect. Dr. Maya Potel stood in the observation hub, watching the intricate dance of thought patterns across her holographic displays. "Breach in Chamber 42, Araya announced, highlighting a neural spike in red. Dreamer experiencing dimensional vertigo." Maya's fingers danced across the neural interface, connecting directly to Chamber 42's occupant. Through the quantum link, she felt Lieutenant James Chen's consciousness spinning, lost in the folds of the 8th dimension. His mind had stretched too far, too fast, reaching for understanding beyond his training. "Focus on my presence," James *, she projected, her thoughts carrying through the quantum resonance. "Remember the anchoring techniques. Find the pattern in the chaos *." She felt his consciousness stabilize, the vertigo subsiding as he reoriented himself. This was the challenge of their work, learning to perceive realities that the human mind wasn't originally designed to comprehend. Yet somehow, humanity had an innate ability to adapt, to understand, to grow beyond their supposed limitations. Dr. Patel, ARI interrupted her thoughts. "We're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations in Sector 7. Maya expanded the monitoring display, frowning at the readings. The quantum field surrounding Earth had always shown subtle patterns, echoes of consciousness from the billions of minds that called the planet home. But these new fluctuations were different, structured, almost like... "It's a response," she whispered, understanding dawning. "LRIA, analyze these patterns against known consciousness signatures." The A's processors hummed. "Pattern analysis complete. These fluctuations share an 89% similarity with human quantum consciousness signatures, but they're not originating from any registered human source." Maya's heart raced. "Contact Dr. Chen immediately." Sarah Chen arrived within minutes, her usually composed features tight with concern. Maya quickly briefed her on the discovery. "Someone else is touching the quantum field," Maya explained, highlighting the pattern analysis. "Not just touching it, they're communicating through it, and they're using methods similar to ours." Sarah studied the data, her enhanced consciousness extending to feel the fluctuations directly. The galaxy's advanced races all rely on technology to manipulate dimensions. They've never shown any sign of understanding consciousness-based manipulation. Could they have discovered our research? Developed their own version? No, Sarah shook her head. These patterns are too natural, too fluid. This isn't learned behavior. It's innate, like ours. She paused, her expression changing. Unless... A soft chime interrupted them. Priority message from the Galactic Council, ARIL announced. They're reporting unusual stellar phenomena in the Carina sector. Multiple stars showing signs of dimensional instability. Maya pulled up the Council's data. The stellar disturbances formed a pattern, spreading across space like ripples in a pond. And at the center, "It's coming from the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy," Sarah breathed. "From the dark zone." The dark zone, a region of space that had been quarantined by the Galactic Council millennia ago. No official explanation was ever given, but rumors spoke of ancient beings who had evolved beyond physical form, becoming pure consciousness. The Council had dismissed these stories as myths, just as they dismissed humanity's consciousness research. "They're waking up," Maya realized. "Whatever's in the dark zone, they're like us. They understand consciousness-based dimensional manipulation, and they're reaching out." Sarah's quantum-enhanced mind reached further, touching the edges of the fluctuations. "No," she corrected quietly. "They're not reaching out. They're reaching through. These stellar disturbances, they're not natural phenomena. They're footprints." Footprints of what? Of consciousness moving through higher dimensions, walking across the galaxy like we'd walk across a room. Sarah's voice grew urgent. "Contact the collective. We need every trained consciousness working together. Now." "Why? What do you sense?" "These beings, they're not just manipulating dimensions like we do. They're unfolding them. Imagine a two-dimensional being finally understanding the third dimension. That's us, Maya. We thought we were advanced because we could perceive higher dimensions, but these entities, they live in them, and they're starting to notice us." In the neural chambers below, the 300 dreamers felt it too, a vast, ancient awareness turning its attention toward Earth. Their consciousness had been like ripples in a cosmic pond, and now something in the depths was stirring in response. "Should we alert the Council?" Maya asked, already knowing the answer. Sarah shook her head. "They wouldn't understand. Their sensors can barely detect what's happening, and their technology can't interact with pure consciousness. We're the only ones who can perceive the true threat." She smiled grimly. "And we spent decades convincing them we're primitive. Then we maintain the charade. For now. But we need to accelerate the program, begin full recruitment of all potential consciousness-sensitive humans. And Maya," Sarah's eyes met hers, "prepare the Harmony Protocol." Maya felt her blood run cold. The Harmony Protocol was theoretical, a way to link not just hundreds, but millions of human minds into a single quantum consciousness. It had never been tested because the risks were enormous. One mistake could trap millions of minds in dimensional space forever. "Is it that serious?" Sarah's consciousness brushed against the quantum field again, feeling the ancient awareness growing stronger. They're not just observing anymore. They're unfolding the dimensions between their galaxy and ours, creating a bridge of pure thought. "How long do we have?" "At their current pace." Sarah checked the stellar disturbance patterns again. 2 weeks, maybe less. In the neural chambers, James Chen floated in his pod, his consciousness now stable enough to perceive what the others felt. Something vast was approaching, an intelligence that made their greatest achievements look like a child's first steps, and humanity would have to decide, reveal their true capabilities to a galaxy that had dismissed them, or face this threat alone. The quantum field rippled again, stronger this time. In the darkness between galaxies, ancient minds stirred from their eons-long slumber, drawn by the faint echo of kindred consciousness. Humanity had wanted to keep their abilities secret until they were ready. Now they would have to decide what ready truly meant. Above them, the stars continued to flicker in patterns that the galaxy's finest instruments barely registered, while in the quantum realm, the footsteps of giants grew ever closer. The awakening storm. Admiral Helena Xiang stood in Earth's quantum defense hub, watching as reality itself began to fold. The massive holographic display showed dimensional fractures spreading across the Orion arm like cracks in thin ice. Each break represented another boundary between dimensions being peeled away by the approaching entities. Harmony Protocol initialization at 67%, ARIO reported. Current mind sync, 2.3 million humans and counting. Helena touched her neural interface, feeling the vast ocean of connected consciousness growing stronger by the minute. Every human sensitive to quantum resonance was being brought into the link: scientists, soldiers, artists, children. Their minds merged into something greater than the sum of its parts, yet each remaining distinctly individual. "Status of the Galactic Council fleet?" she asked, but she could already sense them through the quantum field. 12,000 ships have taken position along the dimensional disturbance front, her XO, Commander David Okonjo, reported. "They're attempting to stabilize space-time through conventional means." No effect. Helena suppressed a grimace. The Council's most advanced dimensional technology was like trying to stop a tsunami with a paper fan. They couldn't even perceive the true nature of what was approaching. In the quantum realm, she felt it clearly: vast intelligences moving through dimensions humans had barely begun to understand, folding space-time like origami. The ancient consciousness from the dark zone wasn't just approaching, it was restructuring reality to make travel between galaxies as simple as stepping through a door. "Dr. Chen," Helena called, "are we ready for first contact?" Sarah Chen's consciousness brushed against hers through the harmony link. "Ready as we'll ever be, but there's something you need to see first." The quantum visualization shifted, showing a new pattern emerging in the dimensional disturbances. What had seemed like random fractures was actually forming a complex geometric shape, a message written in the language of pure mathematics and consciousness. "It's beautiful," Maya whispered, her mind joining theirs in the link. "They're not just approaching, they're trying to communicate." The message unfolded in their shared consciousness like a blooming flower of pure thought. "CHILDORIN of THQUN dawn. We are THERCI Tech-TS. You at AVE learned to TOUCH PAA higher species. Now you must choose." Choose what? Helena wondered, but the answer was already flowing through the dimensional spaces. Images flooded their collective consciousness, civilizations rising and falling across billions of years. Species that had discovered quantum consciousness just as humanity had. Some were uplifted, transformed into beings of pure thought. Others, deemed unworthy, were simply erased. Their dimensions folded until they never existed at all. The architects weren't just making contact, they were coming to judge. "Admiral," Commander Okonjo's voice cracked with urgency, dimensional rupture forming directly above New Geneva. The sky split open like a cosmic zipper, dimensions peeling back to reveal something that hurt to look at with physical eyes. Through the harmony link, they perceived it clearly: a being of pure consciousness, its thoughts extending through dimensions humans hadn't even discovered yet. "DMONS to your ATE, your worth," the thought echoed through millions of linked human minds. In orbit, the Council fleet reacted with panic. Energy weapons fired uselessly through the dimensional tier, passing through higher dimensions without effect. The architect's response was subtle, a mere flicker of attention that caused 3 Arcturian dreadnoughts to simply cease existing. Their dimensions folded out of reality. "My God," Helena breathed. "They're not even trying yet. That was just an afterthought." Sarah's consciousness pressed forward through the link. "We need to respond, now, before they decide we're not worth evaluating." But Helena felt something else through the harmony protocol, not just fear or awe, but a rising tide of very human determination. Millions of minds working together, each contributing their unique perspective to a greater understanding. "No," she said firmly, her thought echoing through the link. "We don't demonstrate our worth, we demonstrate who we are." Through their combined consciousness, humanity reached out, not with a display of power or a plea for mercy, but with something uniquely human. They shared their story, not in words or mathematics, but in pure experience. The struggle to understand their consciousness abilities, the joy of discovery, the choice to hide their advancement, not from fear, but from wisdom, the determination to develop in their own way, at their own pace. the beauty they found in remaining partially physical, partially transcendent, a bridge between worlds. The architect's vast consciousness shifted, surprised. For the first time in eons, it encountered something unexpected. You do not seek a sensation. The thought resonated through dimensions. We seek understanding, Helena projected through the collective consciousness. Not to become like you, but to become the best version of ourselves. The quantum field rippled with what might have been confusion. All others so ye to rise beyond their physical forms, to be hixelem pure thought. Then they lost something precious, Helena responded. We don't want to transcend our humanity. We want to expand it, to be both physical and quantum, both individual and connected, to feel dirt under our feet and infinity in our minds. Through the Harmony Protocol, every linked human shared this sentiment, not in perfect agreement, but in beautiful discord. Millions of variations on the same theme, a symphony of consciousness that celebrated diversity rather than unity. The architect was silent for a long moment, its vast awareness examining this unexpected response. Around Earth, reality held its breath. Finally, a new thought emerged, tinged with something that might have been respect. You are different, perhaps interesting. The dimensional tear began to stabilize, no longer threatening to unweave the fabric of space-time, but it didn't close completely. Instead, it transformed, becoming something new, a bridge of consciousness between humanity and the architects. We will watca. We will learn. You will teach us. The question mark was new, the first sign of uncertainty from these ancient beings. Through the Harmony Protocol, Helena felt humanity's collective response, pride, determination, and an irrepressible urge to explore this new frontier. We'll teach each other, she answered. In orbit, the Council fleet hung motionless, their senses struggling to understand what had just happened. Their most advanced civilizations had just witnessed humanity, supposedly primitive, barely space-capable humanity, conducting a meaningful dialogue with beings that could erase existence with a thought. Sarah's consciousness brushed against Helena's, carrying a hint of amusement. I suppose the charade is over. Let them wonder, Helena thought back. We have more interesting things to explore. Through the dimensional bridge, the first exchange of ideas began. Humanity's chaotic, vibrant consciousness met the ancient, ordered thoughts of the architects, neither seeking to dominate, both seeking to understand. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, standing proudly at the intersection of physical and quantum existence, would help shape its new direction. Above New Geneva, the dimensional tear shimmered like a road made of starlight, leading to possibilities no one, not even the architects, had imagined before. Paradigm Cascade, the Galactic Council's emergency session, was chaos incarnate. Quantum consciousness rippled through the grand chamber as 5,000 representatives from across the galaxy demanded explanations. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the center of it all, no longer playing the role of a primitive scientist, but radiating the quiet confidence of someone who could perceive 11 dimensions simultaneously. Order. The High Chancellor, a being of pure energy, flared with frustration. Earth's deception must be addressed. Sarah smiled, letting her consciousness touch the quantum field gently. Around her, the chamber's hidden dimensional architecture became visible, not through technology, but through pure perception. Deception, Chancellor. We never lied. We simply allowed you to maintain your own assumptions. Through the Harmony Protocol, she felt humanity's collective amusement. 3 million connected minds now, their consciousness spreading across the galaxy like a vast neural network. They watched through her eyes, offering support and insights through the quantum link. You deliberately misled the Council about your capabilities. The Arcturian science director's crystalline form vibrated with indignation. While pretending to struggle with basic dimensional physics, you were communicating with entities that our greatest scholars considered myths. Actually, a new voice interrupted. They were doing something far more interesting. The chamber fell silent as a figure emerged from a fold in space-time. Admiral Helena Xiang stepped onto the council floor, but she wasn't alone. Beside her, reality rippled as an architect manifested, not in its full mind-bending glory, but in a form that wouldn't drive the council mad with its impossible geometry. We HAVEBENWATCing, the architect's thoughts resonated through the chamber. Learning. These humans are unique. Sarah felt the council's collective shock. The architects were legend, stories told to frighten children about beings that could erase entire civilizations with a thought. Yet here was one, standing in their chamber, acting almost protective of humanity. Unique how? The Chancellor's energy form pulsed with barely contained anxiety. Helena stepped forward. We've spent the last week sharing consciousness with the architects, learning their history, and teaching them ours. Would you like to know what we discovered? Without waiting for permission, she reached into the quantum field. The chamber's air shimmered as she projected the shared memories directly into the consciousness of every being present. They saw it all, the architect's ancient journey, discovering quantum consciousness eons ago. Their gradual abandonment of physical form, transcending into beings of pure thought. Their countless encounters with other species who discovered dimensional manipulation, always ending the same way, either ascension or erasure. But then they found humanity. You all chose technology, Sarah explained softly. Machines to fold space, devices to pierce dimensions. You saw consciousness as a byproduct of complexity, nothing more. But we saw it differently. We realized consciousness itself was the key, not to transcend our physical nature, but to expand it. The architect's form shifted, its thoughts carrying an emotion none of them had felt from these beings before, excitement. They dream, it projected. They imagine. They create. Even now, Lin Ki through their Harmony protocol, they remain uniquely themselves. It is beautiful. Beautiful. The Arcturians' crystalline form fractured slightly in disbelief. They're primitive. They still eat, sleep, procreate. Yes, Helena smiled. We do. We feel pain and joy, love and loss. We live in 3 dimensions while our minds dance through 11. And that's exactly why the architects find us fascinating. Through the quantum field, Sarah felt a disturbance. Something was happening at the edges of explored space. She reached out through the Harmony protocol, borrowing the senses of linked humans in that sector. They're coming, she announced. Who's coming? The Chancellor demanded. The architect's form pulsed. The others. The ones who see it as differently. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing massive distortions in space-time. Ships emerged, if they could be called ships. They were more like tiers in reality, each one housing a consciousness that had forsaken physical form for pure ascension. The lost, Helena explained grimly. The civilizations that chose to follow the architect's path of pure transcendence. They've learned of our existence, and our choice to remain partially physical. They believe it threatens the natural order, the architect projected. They come to correct this aberration. The council erupted in panic. Their senses were registering power readings that broke their scales. The lost weren't just bringing weapons. They were bringing the power to unright dimensions themselves. But Sarah felt something else through the Harmony protocol, not fear, but a surge of creative energy. Millions of human minds working together, each contributing unique perspectives to a problem that pure logic couldn't solve. We need to evacuate the council, someone suggested, but Helena raised her hand. No, she said firmly. We make our stand here. It's time to show the galaxy why maintaining our humanity makes us stronger, not weaker. Through their shared consciousness, she sent out the call. Every human sensitive to quantum resonance, whether trained or latent, was invited to join the link. The Harmony protocol expanded exponentially, 5 million minds, then 10 million, then 50 million, each one adding their unique voice to the collective. The architect observed with growing fascination as humanity's consciousness swelled like a rising tide. They weren't merging into a singular entity like the lost. They remained a symphony of individuals, each one strengthening the whole. "What are you doing?" the Chancellor asked, witnessing power readings that dwarfed anything in the Council's records. Sarah's eyes gleamed. "We're improvising, something pure logic and transcendence can never do." Through the quantum field, they felt the lost approaching. Beings of unimaginable power, determined to enforce their version of evolution on a species that dared to choose a different path. They had no idea what they were about to face. Because humanity wasn't just going to fight, they were going to create something entirely new, a defense born from 50 million imaginations working in harmony, science and art, logic and dreams, physical and quantum, all blending into something the universe had never seen before. The first shots in a war of consciousness were about to be fired, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why keeping their messy, emotional, physical nature made them not weaker, but stronger than any purely transcendent being could understand. Above the council chamber, reality began to warp as the lost approached. But this time, they weren't facing primitive beings ready for ascension or erasure. They were facing humanity, and humanity had a few surprises of their own. Symphony of existence. Reality trembled as the lost descended upon the Galactic Council's space, their consciousness vessels cutting through dimensions like knives through silk. Each entity was a singular, perfect thought, pure logic and power, unfettered by physical limitations. They had abandoned their bodies eons ago, transcending into beings of pure quantum energy. Through the Harmony Protocol, 50 million human minds watched them approach. But they weren't watching with fear. They were watching with imagination. "They're so uniform," Maya whispered through the link. Her consciousness, joined with millions of others, perceived the lost in their true form. Perfect crystalline thoughts, each identical to the last. "Perfect," Sarah agreed, standing in the council chamber. "And perfectly predictable." The lost's first attack came as a wave of dimensional unwriting, a cascade of quantum energy designed to erase the aberration of humanity's hybrid existence. It was overwhelming force, executed with mathematical precision. But humanity wasn't calculating, they were creating. Through the Harmony Protocol, 50 million minds reached out, not as one consciousness, but as a symphony of individuals. Artists conceptualized impossible geometries. Children imagined colors that couldn't exist. Scientists theorized dimensions that broke conventional mathematics. Poets dreamed in quantum metaphors. The lost attack hit this wall of human creativity and shattered. Impossible, the thoughts of the lost reverberated through space-time. "Your defense FOLOWers nano logicl ptton." "That's because it's not logical," Helena smiled, her consciousness conducting the symphony of human minds. "It's jazz." The council chamber erupted in displays of impossible physics as humanity demonstrated why they had chosen to remain both physical and quantum. 50 million different ways of perceiving reality, each adding their unique note to a cosmic improvisation. The architect observed with growing understanding. They create as they defend, each mind adding new possibilities. Unpredictable, beautiful. The lost attacked again, this time attempting to fold the dimensions containing Earth's solar system into non-existence. But they found those dimensions defended by stories, countless human narratives weaving through quantum space, creating patterns too complex for pure logic to unravel. "Do you understand yet?" Sarah projected her thoughts to both the lost and the council. "This is why we chose not to transcend, why we embrace our messy, emotional, physical existence." Through the quantum field, she shared humanity's perspective, the joy of tasting food, the warmth of a lover's embrace, the wonder of watching a sunset, the satisfaction of solving a puzzle, each experience adding depth and texture to their consciousness, making them more than mere thought patterns in quantum space. Inefficient, the lost responded. Primitive. Evolution demands transcendence. No, Helena countered. Evolution demands adaptation, and we've adapted to be more than either physical or quantum. We've become the bridge between realities. To demonstrate, humanity played their masterstroke. Through the Harmony Protocol, 50 million minds began to sing, not with voices, but with pure consciousness. Each individual contributing their unique perspective to create something entirely new. Reality itself began to dance to their song. The Lost's perfect logical patterns found themselves caught in a symphony of existence. Their uniformity became a weakness as they failed to adapt to the constantly changing quantum melody. They couldn't predict what 50 million creative minds would do next because even humanity didn't know. They were making it up as they went along. The architect's form pulsed with what might have been joy. They make reality dance, not through control, but through collaboration. In the quantum field, the Lost's attack faltered. Their pure, transcendent consciousness couldn't comprehend a defense that operated on both logical and emotional levels simultaneously. They couldn't counter creativity with calculation. But humanity wasn't interested in merely defending. Join us, Sarah projected, her consciousness backed by the full symphony of human imagination. Not in transcendence, but in celebration. Feel what it means to be both thought and matter, both one and many. Through the Harmony Protocol, they shared their experience, the exhilaration of existing in multiple states simultaneously, the richness of combining physical sensation with quantum perception, the joy of remaining individual while being part of something greater. The Lost hesitated. For the first time in eons, their perfect unity wavered. This is different, one of them projected, then another and another. Their uniform consciousness beginning to show the first ripples of individuality. The architect moved to the center of the council chamber, its form shifting with new understanding. We were on, it projected to all. Transcendence is not PAE only PATA. Perhaps, not ENTAT best PATA. Through the quantum field, humanity felt the shift. The Lost weren't attacking anymore. They were listening, feeling, some even beginning to remember what it meant to exist as individuals. Sarah stepped forward, her consciousness still conducting the symphony of human minds. We don't offer transcendence, she said. We offer transformation, the chance to be both physical and quantum, both one and many, both logical and creative. Hello, the Lost asked, their perfect unity now alive with questions, with curiosity, with the first stirrings of imagination. Helena smiled, the same way we do everything. Together, not as a unified consciousness, but as a harmony of individuals. The council chamber filled with new patterns as humanity demonstrated their vision, physical reality and quantum consciousness intertwining in endless variations, science and art, logic and emotion, matter and energy, all dancing together in a celebration of existence itself. One by one, the Lost began to change, not returning to pure physical form, but not remaining purely transcendent either. They were becoming something new, something that could exist in both states, appreciating the richness of physical sensation while maintaining their quantum awareness. The architect's form shifted into something that might have been a smile, the unveils, not through uniformity, but through diversity. Humanity HS shown USANEUPT. In orbit around Earth, the Harmony Protocol continued its symphony. 50 million minds imagining possibilities that pure logic could never conceive. Their consciousness reached across the galaxy, inviting others to join not in transcendence, but in celebration. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of pure transcendence was ending, replaced by something far more interesting, an era where physical and quantum existence enhanced each other, where individuality and unity could coexist, where logic and creativity danced together through dimensions yet unnamed. And at the heart of it all was humanity, still eating, sleeping, loving, fighting, creating, and dreaming. Their consciousness touched the infinite, while their feet remained firmly planted in the soil of their homeworld. They were the bridge between states of existence, the artists painting with reality itself, the dreamers who had shown the galaxy that evolution didn't have to mean leaving everything behind. In the council chamber, Sarah felt the change rippling through reality itself. The lost were no longer lost. The architects were learning to dream, and humanity was just getting started. Through the Harmony Protocol, 50 million voices sang their joy into the quantum field. Their song would continue, growing more complex and beautiful as new voices joined the chorus. Not a single perfect note of transcendence, but an ever-changing symphony of existence itself. The universe listened, and for the first time in eons, it began to sing along.